That's wash. Well, welcome to another adventure. Today is not action-packed, but it is the fulfillment of a lot of work. We are standing on a claim that I staked just over 2 years ago, and last few days been preparing to set it up. So let's have a quick run through what we've got. So you can see it looks like a heap of junk lying here, but there's lids, there's collars for the top of the mine shaft, there's ladders, there's a wash plant under the tarp, there's sand for the concreting. Under the blue tarp is the concrete. And over there we've got some tyres randomly on a piece of tarp. These are actually going to be the base for a shipping container to sit on. So we're going to cement inside those tyres. So we've got a fair bit of work to do over the next few days, and I'm going to try and take you along for the journey. The thing that's really exciting about this morning is there is a truck about to arrive, and that is going to drill our mine shaft, and I think we're going to be putting him over here. So let's cut to that. Some of you might be wondering why we are drilling a shaft. Just some general information here. In the gem fields, we are looking for ancient riverbeds that contain the sapphires. So old gravels and sand creek beds that'll have sapphires amongst them. And they're not everywhere. You've got to try and find them. In our location, we know that our neighbours have wash down at about 20 feet. So that's a fair way down. It would be unrealistic to dig down that far and remove all the overburden. So we're going to put a shaft in and then drive off that shaft, and we'll be underground mining, following that riverbed along, trying to find the sapphires. And as you can see, these guys are working very efficiently. We're getting down towards the wash layer now, I think. And we know when we've gone too far, because underneath all of that is some ancient volcanic ash. This is the drill working in real time. You can see the stuff that it's brought up already, the overburden, which is mostly clay, a bit of loamy soil, a bit of black dirt, but we need to get through all of that to get to the wash layer. This is the moment we've been waiting for. The auger's just hit some dirt that's made different sounds, more grating and grinding, which might indicate there's some rocks and stones. So we're hoping that when he dumps this out, we're going to see the wash, which is usually clear to see because of the amount of rocks and gravels in it. And as we look at that, we see those rocks, we see the gravel, we have definitely hit the wash. Now that the wash has been reached and the shaft has been dug, these guys do the last job, which is reaming out the top of the shaft so we can cement the collar in. Really incredibly grateful to these guys for the work that they did. For those that are wondering, the cost of getting these shafts dug is about $40 per foot at the moment. Definitely more effective and efficient than trying to do it yourself. That hole is 18 foot deep. Do not want to fall in there. So the truck's just left, and this is where we're at, the next stage. So you can see a nice big hole. You can see they've sort of cut the top out a little bit. So that's that I can sit this collar into that section, and then we cement around the outside. So that's what the framing and the Rio's for. And of course, that's the lid that I've made. And you'll see holes, a couple of holes in the lid. That's so a bar can go through to actually lock it down. There'll be stuff on their cement pad to attach to it. So at the moment, I'm not happy with this. I'm actually a little bit apprehensive. It's a bit of a dangerous place. So I'll be putting a lid on while I sort some stuff out. But the next big job is cementing. So we're just going to work out roughly how much cement we need. And then we need to add the cement that we'll need for the bottom of the shipping container as well. So let's get into it. Now, most of the stuff I had, I'd spent time making before I came over to the gem fields. You can see me welding together this ladder. I'd put together everything that I thought I would need, and so once I got over here, it was just a matter of putting everything together and putting it into the shaft. Wanted to get the ladder set up before I cemented, get the collar in place, the framing and the Rio as well. So here we go. You can see a little bit of work being done, framed up, ladders in. We're about to pour the concrete, and then put the lid on, I think is the only other thing. Now there is an invention, I believe, to make this process a bit easier, but I got a mate out. We got some aggregate and we decided to use the wheelbarrow to mix all the cement that we needed. I think we ended up with about 140 20-litre buckets of aggregate, a lot of cement, a lot of wheelbarrows, a lot of mixing using the shovel. A lot of hard work, but it was good fun. So the main reason that we are cementing the top, cementing the collar in, it keeps the shaft from collapsing at the top. It gives a good solid entrance, protects the surrounding ground, stops water from getting in there, makes it easier, safer to climb in and out, and it prevents erosion. So it's really important for my books. This is a major thing to do. The ladder is not currently secured. The reason I've got the ladder in is because I want to actually screw it in and cement it to the top of the shaft. Now, unfortunately, as the day wore on, we realised that we were a little bit short of aggregate. The camera is just about to turn itself off, and what you don't see is me having to quickly duck out and grab some more aggregate to come back and mix the last few wheelbarrow loads after dark. But the good news, we get it done, and here's a bit of a picture once it was done later that night, all finished, and then managed to also get to the container base that I was making with those tyres. But here's the end product. So you can see cement is done. You can see the cement around the edge of the shaft is actually higher, so the water will drain off, and that is the cover for it. And it will lock down so it doesn't get shifted or moved, which is good. So the next stage is to secure the ladder. So you can see the ladder's been secured at the top with a couple of screws going into the cement, but I've got dirt screws, long dirt screws, that are going to go into the wall on the way down and into the floor as well. So I haven't yet been down there. I'm just letting the cement dry because I don't want to pull those top pins out. Once the pins are dry in the next day or so, we'll go down and we'll have a bit of a look at it. So this is the first time me going down the shaft. I'm being a little bit tentative. I have the dirt screws that I want to use, and I start about halfway down putting them in. They're just long screws that screw into the dirt just as a way to really hold it in, and these screws do a great job of sucking the ladder into, holding it tight into the edge of the shaft. So with that done, I grab a camera and take it down to show you the inside of the shaft. So there we can see the ladder secured to the side. You can see the work that the auger's done all the way down, and then there is the floor. Not much room. It's 900 millimeters wide, which isn't very wide. And here you can see in the wall, while most of the wall is smooth, you can see here the gravels. So this is our roughly about 2 foot of wash that we have in the wall. And of course I can't resist. My focus changes once I get everything set up. I start thinking about how I can actually dig a little bit out. So out comes the jackhammer, ready to be lowered down. You can hear in the back I've got the generator going to give me some power. You'll see I've also got a white piece of pipe coming out of the hole. There is a little fan on the end of that, and so that's just sucking air out of the bottom of the shaft just to get air to circulate around. Really important that the airflow happens and is safe. Should never be underground without good airflow. Once that ladder's set up, once that collar's been cemented in, the shaft is quite safe to go down, but of course you still have to be a little bit careful. So here I am going down, getting ready to dig. It is not much space, and noise does amplify a bit in that hole, so making sure I had some hearing protection in was essential. And then working out exactly where I'm going to dig. In another episode I'll take you through how to dig. The good news about the dirt here, that it is self-supporting if you do a bit of a church roof, and don't go too wide too early. So if you have a flat roof, there's a good chance that it may collapse. With a nice curved roof like a church roof coming down, to a width down the bottom, there shouldn't be an issue. But the main objective at the moment really is to dig enough into the wall so that I don't have to climb up every time we want to pull the buckets up. But that's going to take some time. Now, as I start digging, you can see that the dirt is just going to fall straight to the bottom around my feet. It's a good feeling to be able to see this gravel coming out. Obviously, it's a bit awkward not having huge amounts of space, but it only gets more awkward when I have to try and get buckets down there to fill up using a little hand scoop because there's not enough room to use a shovel or anything else. So it's a bit of a long and arduous process, slowly eating this wall out with the jackhammer and then filling buckets up with a little hand scoop. As I dug, I got more and more excited. I started seeing some bigger billy boulders coming out along with the other gravels. That's a good sign. Often when you get billy boulders or bigger stones, that's a really good indicator that there might be sapphires around there. When I talked to my neighbours, they said that most of the sapphires in this area are fairly small, but there's some really exceptional quality when it comes to clarity. So really have no idea what we're going to find here, but for the moment we'll just keep digging. And of course, because I've dug the dirt, it's about time to bring it up and process it and see if we can actually find anything. Now they've got a couple buckets full, I have to get them out of there, and unfortunately there is only one way that I knew to do that. And as you may guess, this is not the easiest process. All right, the buckets are up, and I'm definitely going to be getting a winch. I'll make that process a bit easier. The next part of the journey is to put them through this old thing here, which is a bit of a shaker sieve. Get rid of the dirt, get rid of the rocks, bigger rocks, and then soak them and put them over the Willoughby. So now that we're up in the light of day, you can see some of the billy boulders and some of the bigger rocks that I was pulling out of the side of the shaft. Really encouraging sign. You can also see where the base was. We were getting some of the volcanic ash as well. So if we clear some of this sand and gravel falls through, rocks go in with rocks. And this here are pieces of the volcanic ash. Put the camera down and get stuck into it. Start processing the buckets. All right, we've been soaking the wash for a bit in these tubs, and I had thought it was very gravelly, but it is full of clay. So we're going to use this little sieve here, and we're going to do some jigging in some water here to try and get rid of some of that clay. Probably need to soak it again. Let's get into it. So I do have a wash plant. It isn't currently set up. That's on the to-do list for the future. So at the moment, I get to do everything that my wash plant is going to do automatically by hand. And now we get to the best part of the day when we're using the Willoughby to process the gravel. This is just a way of getting the heavies to condense at the bottom and in the middle of the sieve. And so when you throw the sieves out, it's hopefully going to be easier to find the gemstones. Now, I should say again, I do have that wash plant there and I am dying to set it up. A little bit of work getting it set up, but with its trommel, it gets rid of the dirt, so we don't have to use the shaker deck. And then there's a pulsator, which helps break the dirt down and gets rid of the mud. The gravels get caught as they travel over some mesh, and the heavies especially get caught. So you process everything. At the end of the day, you clean out the pulsator, and hopefully that's where you find your stones. But when we look at these gravels, they're really good looking gravels, really good indicator stones, some really good blacks in the middle of them. And the smalls are where I was expecting to find something. And if you look up at the top there, just as long as you ignore my inability to use a set of tweezers and film at the same time, you can see we did manage to find a couple sapphires in our first few buckets. Now we really only had a small amount of time to be there, just enough time really to dig the shaft and set everything up. We did get the shipping container onto the cement blocks. We have got the wash plant ready to get set up next time. That will make the whole process easier. I'm really looking forward to getting back and digging a lot more, and of course we'll love to bring you on that sort of adventure. Now I know that isn't going to satisfy those that are looking for some good images of the sapphires we found. So here's a couple that we found as we went through the wash. Just note we haven't actually dug a lot, we haven't processed a lot, waiting for the wash plant to set up to really get stuck into that. But here are some images of sapphires that we have found. And you'll see they're quite nice sapphires. I'm looking forward to seeing what else comes out of that shaft. One of the questions I know people are going to ask with regard to this video is, how do I know where to put the shaft? How did I know where to stake the claim? To probably answer that, it's important to know I did do some research. I went online, found some resources, some old maps, some new maps, found where machinery mining had happened in the past, did a fair bit of research, but this is probably the most important that you need to understand. This claim for me and going to the gem fields is a spiritual retreat space for me. My daily life, I'm busy, I'm always with people. I very rarely do a lot of manual labor. And so to go over to the gem fields where I can slow down, turn my phone off, not spend as much time with people, and do a significant amount of manual labor is actually really good for my soul as I sit there and do all of that with God. So this is a really important place for me to be guided by God in. If you go to the gem fields and ask people how to find sapphires, generally speaking, most people use divination rods. They'll put the rods over the ground, find where the sapphires are. And there's some guys over there that if you flick $50, they'll put the rods over your claim, and they'll tell you exactly where to dig, and they'll even tell you how deep it's probably going to be. I didn't want to be guided by my understanding or the divination rods as part of this process. So I allowed God to guide me. I went over, set a weekend apart when I was to stake the claim, and I went over there and visited all different places in the gem fields. And where I staked my claim is where I had the greatest sense of peace, that's where God wanted me to do it. The same thing when I came to dig my shaft. It was done through prayer and discernment, and I dug the shaft. And I was overwhelmed by God's grace when the shaft went down and hit the wash, because there's no guarantees that I was going to hit the wash. Because finding sapphires is secondary, I would have been content if it didn't hit wash and I had to try and dig another hole or sort it out. But God was gracious. We hit wash. We've got a shaft. And it's important to note that because God's guiding me, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get better gems or more gems than anybody else. The process is I already have received the greatest thing I possibly could, and that is an intimate personal relationship with Him. My discernment process is because prayer isn't something that I do, it's somebody I'm with. I love spending time with God. I get up in the morning and I walk with Him. I love going over to the gem fields because my whole time over there, I'm with Him, and I walk with Him and I talk with Him, and He guides me and He leads me, and it's a reality for me. And if you don't have that reality, then I want to encourage you that it's actually real and it's actually tangible. The reward isn't treasure here on earth. The reward is intimacy with Him and eternal life. So my encouragement to you is journey closely to Him. My second encouragement is, if you're planning to stake a mining claim, I recommend using a mining tenure agent. They make the paperwork side of things and dealing with the government a lot easier. And if you want to know, or you want to know more about God, or you want to move closer to Him, I recommend you see someone who knows Him, can help you to understand how to read the Bible. Hey, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And we'll see you in the next video. Feel free to leave some comments about future videos that you'd like to see, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks, hey. Bless you.